What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff with Living in Arizona, and today we are going to compare Chandler, Mesa, Queen Creek, Gilbert, and just the Southeast Valley, maybe even throw Santan Valley into that mix. And we're going to talk about that area because people want to know about the most relevant information to this moment, to this day. I live in the Southeast Valley. I grew up in North Phoenix and Scottsdale, spent a lot of time in the west side, northwest side, and so I can give you guys some perspectives. But this, in my opinion, is the premier destination to be in Phoenix, is the Southeast Valley, this whole area. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you're new to Living in Arizona, you can hit subscribe. And also, if you're not getting the notifications on our live feed, there is a bell. Push the bell. That's to get notified when there is a live feed. So some of you guys were asking, hey, I missed your live feed. I want to participate in those live Q&As. That's how you do it. You got to turn on the bell. So subscribe, then turn on the bell. Also, to those of you who are also watching the live feed and wondering where all the questions were coming from, it was from this group, Living in Arizona, on Facebook. And you can see lots of questions still coming in. And just general advisories: dogs banned from all Phoenix mountain hiking trails on 100 plus days. So there you go. If you have a dog and you want to take them hiking, don't do it when it's 100 plus degrees because it's not healthy for your dog. And so you can see Chris is asking questions about banks and just lots of different information where people are staying up to date with each other. Okay, so there's the start into that. And let's go ahead and talk about this. So I personally live in a place called Santan Valley. It is not incorporated, therefore it is still a part of Queen Creek. Now, the problem with that is Queen Creek is in Maricopa County. I'm in Pinal County, but I'm a part of the municipality of Queen Creek. Some of you guys are going to say, how the heck does that work? So you're in the city, but you're in a different county, so you're having to live under Pinal County codes and laws, because Maricopa and Pinal County have different guidelines. They just do. But you have to live in the same city. So how does that function? It doesn't make sense. It's just the fact that this area is growing so fast, and the people of Queen Creek, or the governing body of Queen Creek, doesn't want to give up Santan Valley, even though Santan Valley has 100,000 people living there, which is actually more than Queen Creek. Okay, so politics aside, just that interesting point, because someone did ask me, why is Santan Valley not incorporated yet? Well, no one quite knows the answer to that, to be honest. But Queen Creek is a great place. That's not to knock Queen Creek. It's just saying that because Santan Valley is in a different county, it should be its own municipality, straight up. So Queen Creek, in my opinion, would probably be the premier destination at this current moment, probably in all of Southeast Phoenix. A lot of people like Gilbert. Gilbert is nice because it's connected to you can get to the 202 pretty quickly, which will slingshot you all around Phoenix. Queen Creek's a little bit further off of that, so you're not so close to the highways. You got the US 60 a little bit further north, and you got the 202, but outside of that, you're about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on where you live, away from the 202 or the 60, which is the, super corridor highway system that we have. But it's a lot more leisure, family friendly out here. Newer homes, newer community, newer shopping centers, and still kind of rural, but just nice. That's Queen Creek. A little bit more affordable than Gilbert. Now, if you move towards Gilbert, say, you're going to be definitely right in the middle of it all, or you're going to be in a newer area, newer shopping districts, newer kind of climate, just up and coming, but you're right there on the freeway system, and it's been ranked as the top city in America by some regards, the top suburb in America to live. So I would say that Queen Creek is the new Gilbert, and then beyond that, Santan Valley is going to be the new Gilbert, Queen Creek, and Santan Valley is going to be that. But I think Santan Valley, which is where I live, ultimately 10 to 15 years from now, you can just look out onto the horizon and see the potential here. It's just not quite here yet, but I will say that if I go this way, if I go this way, if I go that way, if I go that way, literally homes all around me, housing communities, developments just blossoming out of the desert. The thing is, they're not building any commercial or industrial infrastructure to go along with that. And they haven't really built up the roads yet. So they're just packing people in here. Beautiful homes, beautiful everything, but they're just not building the commercial. I mean, I posed a question on the group Santan Valley Happenings. I said, where do people go to get healthy food? Because there's plenty of McDonald's, there's plenty of, fries, and you can get processed foods all day long. You can go to Taco Bell, some buffets, Denny's. I mean, but where's the health food stores? Well, you got to go to Queen Creek to get that, Sprouts. So it's just a matter of time before Santan Valley gets that, because we've got beautiful communities being built out here like Encanterra, which is, high-end resort living community, but it doesn't have that infrastructure yet. So if you're moving to Santan Valley, you're going to have to wait a couple years. Now, Chandler had its boom. Chandler used to be what Gilbert is today, in the sense that now Chandler's become outdated a bit. I consider Chandler to be fairly modern, but it's because it's older infrastructure, it just doesn't have that same appeal that you could get as living in Gilbert or living in Queen Creek. So I guess you could say the two best areas out of those would be Gilbert, between Chandler, Gilbert, Queen Creek, Santan Valley. If you really want the whole enchilada, you're going to get that in Gilbert, but you're going to pay more. Now, where does Mesa fit into all this? Mesa is like the big brother of all of them. It's the largest suburb in all of America. Over 500,000 people for a suburb is huge. I mean, that's bigger than San Bernardino in California. But it's older infrastructure. It's older everything. I mean, the thing that's, you guys watched my virtual driving tour that I did yesterday from Mesa. If you haven't, you can go to the channel and watch it. But I showed you guys around Mesa. The downtown area is kind of desolate. And, I think what popped in my mind when I was walking around there, really, if I'm completely honest with you, I said, you know what the problem is here? The people who are in power, the people who are in charge of all of this, are out of touch with what this generation wants. We're talking millennials and Generation Z. The reason the millennials and Generation Z aren't coming out to hang out in these areas is because these areas are not, they're not modern. They're not modernized. And the idea of what they're doing to modernize it is what they would have done in the 80s and the 90s. And that doesn't work here in 2019. So what it is honestly, they've got to reimagine everything that they're doing. And baby boomers who are 90 years old, 80 years old, they don't understand what this generation wants, but they like it their way. So they build things their way without taking into consideration what these people want to do. They'll build you the house that you want, but they won't build you the entertainment facilities that you want. And we're talking trampoline parks, indoor parks, the infrastructure that you guys like, which is a lot of trees. A lot of people move here, they want trees. And so that's what you get with Santan Valley, where the baby boomers are going to be, they don't gotta go anywhere, but come on, pass the torch here. We're ready. Okay. Peyton Manning, Michael Jordan, they all had to retire. Brett Favre, he had to retire. At some point, these baby boomers got to turn over the power to the next generation and let them run with it. And that's kind of where I'm looking at what is happening in Gilbert. Gilbert's a perfect example of what happens when a new generation takes over, because downtown Gilbert's where you want to be hanging out. You don't want to be hanging out in downtown Mesa. Talk about a boring place. Even at night, I mean, yeah, sure, people are like, oh, go to that place at night. Well, even then, still, downtown Gilbert's got more on downtown Mesa, okay? As far as entertainment goes. They got Dierks Bentley down there. I mean, it's an up-and-coming area. Downtown Chandler's better than Mesa downtown, but it's not quite what Gilbert is. And then downtown Queen Creek really doesn't even really exist, and downtown Santan Valley for sure doesn't exist. But the point is that Santan Valley's positioned, in my opinion, to be able to build out this infrastructure that is going to be relevant to this day and age, not like doing what Mesa does, where they build things the old school fashioned way back in the 40s. Like downtown Mesa is the type of place that'll, open up a big music store where you're still selling grandstand pianos and old school guitars, which is cool, but no one's going there to buy their guitars or the pianos anymore. So having that store, it's like, what is that store even there for? Because no one's really buying it from there. They'll go online and buy it. And same thing with the malls. It's like people still want to go out and into these areas where it's, where it's cool. You can go inside and shop around. But it's like the stores in there, the way that they're doing malls haven't been reimagined. They're still doing it the way they did in the 80s and 90s. And so the malls are closing, department stores are closing, and that means it's time to bring in the new. And yeah, I am saying this as a rant in a way, but I'm saying that I'm aware of it. And I don't necessarily have to be the creative person who does it. I turn it over to the creative people who also think like that. The people who are able to reimagine. I'm not talking about the people who only talk. I'm talking about the people who want to be a part of the new generation, of the new movement of cities of the future, smart cities, just smart designs. And I've seen it in Singapore. I've seen it in Dubai. I've seen successes and failures in both of those areas with the smart city innovations. But people want to see really cool things. And if you're going to build art, it's got to be really cool. Perfect example of this would be in Singapore. They have this place called Marina Bay Sands. So Marina Bay, they have the giant trees. They have the cloud forest, stuff like that. And that stuff can be done here in Arizona. They can build these biospheres where they build these cool things that people will come from far and wide to go to. Singapore gets just as hot as Phoenix. And, no one swims in the ocean over there. So the fact that it's on an ocean doesn't matter. And Phoenix doesn't have to be on an ocean to build something great like that. So the point is that Santan Valley, Queen Creek, Gilbert's kind of already filled out. Queen Creek, not so much, but Santan Valley is where, in my opinion, the next 15 to 20 years, if the economy stays strong, is everything going to be done on this generation's terms, because the baby boomers, I think they're exhausted at this point. They've got to step down. They've got to turn over the keys because they can't keep pushing the throttle. They're too tired. They're too tired to think. They're not creative. They still got the money and the power, but it's time to pass the baton. That happens, guys. Sorry. You don't have to go to the grave. We're not saying die. We're saying pass the baton. Okay? Time to retire. And so, yeah, Queen Creek is one of those places. Mesa is, I think, Northeast Mesa still has some potential to grow. And then you have Gilbert, which is really kind of the town and the city in Phoenix that changed it all, or Southeast Phoenix that really changed the direction. And then you have Chandler, which also kind of was a part of that. But now it's going to come down to Santan Valley, and what Queen Creek's going to do is going to reimagine the whole way that Phoenix Metro is developing. And they haven't built anything out here yet. So when you bring in this many U-Hauls and this many families and this many people, at some point in time, there's going to be business people who are going to wake up. The light bulb's going to pop on their head. They're going to say, there's a lot of new communities, which means a lot of people are living here, and they're going to want things to do. And the first people to move in with cool things to do are going to be able to capitalize on that. So, in summary, that is why I am saying that Queen Creek, Gilbert is where it's at now, but long-term, Santan Valley is going to boom. This whole little area, go look on a map, you'll see it. And so, it's going to be in the next 10 to 15 years. It's not happening now, but it does have the long-term opportunity. Mesa, Chandler, I mean, you can live there. It's closer to Central Phoenix and all that, and that's about the only perk. The older infrastructure, I mean, maybe you got Chandler Mall, which is kind of close to Ahwatukee too. I mean, that's a perk. Being closer to Tempe, it is a perk. But outside of being closer to the things to do in Phoenix, as far as like raising a family and having the new infrastructure and, things done on the modern wavelength, it's going to be happening out here in this area, which is, like I said a couple times in the video, Santan Valley. So, it's not here yet though. But all it takes, next time you're in town, drive out here, go look at homes and notice all of the construction taking place in this community, and you'll say, wow, that's a lot of homes being built. I mean, you've got builders from D.R. Horton to Del Webb to Meritage these are all different builders that are in this area. So you don't have that in a lot of these areas. Even in Queen Creek, kind of Gilbert filled out. Anyways, guys, if you're new to this channel, you can subscribe and turn on the bell and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you next time. You can also subscribe to us on Instagram, Live in Arizona, and we'll see you next time.